How's it going, everybody? It's Master1994 here, and today we are going to take a look at my Disciplined Priest PvP build, and then we're going to look at some gameplay. As always, if you want to skip any part of the video, there is a table of contents in the description below, so go ahead and take a look at that and you'll find exactly what you want to see. Here you can see my current ratings, so you can see that I got those sweet duelist transmogs with my build. So let's take a look at it. Now quickly note that this is a build based on my playstyle and how I want to play my Discipline Priest. So this is not necessarily the meta build. However, when I stray from the meta, I will let you guys know. So because my playstyle is so offensive with my Discipline Priest, as we're reviewing the build, we're going to see a reoccurring theme of consistency, consistent damage, and consistent atonement healing. And that's going to play really well with Relentless, which I know all of you are turning your head. This is a very odd trinket choice, but we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So this first tier, I'm using Castigation. Now in 2s, Schism appears to be the meta, and in 3s, Twist of Fate seems to be the meta, but Schism can't affect our direct healing, and Twist of Fate is only active when we heal someone below 35% health. Castigation is the most consistent and versatile talent here, just increases our hostile and friendly penances by 33%. So this is going to help us be that much more offensive, and it's making me offensively penance a lot more and just add up that damage. This next tier, I'm using Body and Soul. Masochism is the meta if you are going to be targeted, and Angelic Feather is the meta pretty much otherwise. And I probably should have started using Angelic Feather. I just didn't want to use the global cooldowns for the feathers, and I got used to Body and Soul. But, you guys should probably use Angelic Feather. It's the meta. But now we're getting into where I've picked the meta talent choices. In this next tier, I picked Power Word Solace, which is the meta. Most consistent damage, most consistent mana regeneration. Mindbender is also very good, and I played with both, but sadly Mindbender can be CC'd. So AoE fears, AoE freezes, things like that can pretty much negate your entire Mindbender cooldown. On this next tier, I'm using Psychic Voice. If you're on, an arena like Blade's Edge arena, you can knock people off the bridge with Shining Force, but I went ahead and just stuck with Psychic Voice because it helps you CC chain with your teammates. Sense of the Many, again, the meta, just a flat damage increase. Great talent. Next, Purge the Wicked, again, meta, a better version of your Shadow Word Pain, and kind of goes hand in hand with Castigation. I'm using a lot more offensive penances, so we're spreading Purge the Wicked a lot more. Lastly, we're using Lenience. This again is the meta. I played with both Lenience and Luminous Barrier, and Luminous Barrier is really strong, but it's really best if you team it up with Dome of Light, and I just didn't feel like I had the PvP talent space to use that, so I went with Lenience. I'm using Trinity for my first PvP talent. Some priests aren't using this, some are, but Ultimate Radiance is completely necessary. What an essential PvP talent. This is your burst healing. I even have my Power Word Radiance tied to my PvP trinket, the burst trinket, because it's your bread and butter. When people are low, you have other cooldowns, but they prevent damage. This is your healing, your burst healing ability with Ultimate Radiance. And I'm also using Dark Archangel, which is a huge talent, such a good discipline talent. You're going to team this up, you're going to use this with your teammates, when CC chains start, when someone's about to die, and you can use this to secure that kill. It's such an amazing talent. I do want to mention that I'm not using Premonition, which is the meta. People are using Premonition. I didn't feel like I needed it. I didn't add it to my playstyle, but you could potentially replace Trinity with Premonition, and probably a lot of people would probably argue that you need to. So next, let's talk about Relentless. So Relentless. I started using this because when I was leveling up my Discipline Priest and doing arena skirmishes early on in BFA, I felt like if I didn't have my medallion on cooldown, my teammates were dying if I got CC chained at all. Um, and so I just started using Relentless as I was leveling up, and I kind of fell in love with it with my Disciplined Priest. Now, obviously, the on-use trinket is the meta, but with my build, when I'm keeping all my enemies dotted, I have Trinity, so that dot atonement healing is that much stronger. I'm keeping atonement on my teammates. They usually survive, especially if they're, 2K plus players, where when I get CC'd, they're kind of falling back a little bit. I'm also playing the pillars, avoiding CC in general. So I've made it work with Relentless, and that 20% off the top of all CC chains helps me be that much more offensive and is definitely more consistent. But, the on-use trinket is very important, the meta. I wouldn't blame any of you guys for using the medallion instead. And also, with any other healer, I would use the medallion. If I make any more videos with healers and I choose a different class or spec, I can assure you guys I'm going to be using the medallion. Let's quickly go over the stat prioritization. So obviously intellect is our primary stat, so that's number one on the list. But as for our secondary stats, we want to stack haste first, then versatility, then mastery, then crit. And I'm going to briefly explain these. If you don't want to hear that, hit that table of contents in the description below and skip to the next part. Now, critical strike obviously has 50% reduced effectiveness in PvP. So your damage and healing does 50% more damage instead of 100% more damage or healing, of course. So we're not going to be stacking that. Mastery only increases our direct healing. It doesn't increase our damage, and it doesn't increase our atonement healing. So it's not going to fit in with this offensive Disciplined Priest build. It's a very strong stat, and it could fit in with a very different Disciplined Priest build, but just not for this one. Versatility is obviously very well rounded, but we all know that it stacks very, very slowly, so that's not going to be number one. For this spec, we want haste. Haste is the meta right now for a lot of specializations. A lot of classes are stacking haste. Just all those quicker globals, those quicker casts, very important right now. It's going to help us be offensive and defensive, well-rounded stat. Definitely the way to go right now. As for our artifact traits, a lot of the times I'm picking the stat traits. I'm using Bracing Chill when I see it. It's basically Prayer of Mending, and Atonement does trigger this. So if you keep Atonement on your teammates and you're offensive and doing damage, Bracing Chill is just going to trigger and go through all your team and heal everybody for a pretty good chunk. So that's very important. Will and Woe is also pretty good. Offensive penances increase the absorption of your next power word shield by a pretty good chunk. So I've been using this when I saw it. Other than that, as you can see, I'm using a lot of the stat traits. A lot of the actual discipline traits weren't really offensive enough for me, so I went with the stats. So I think what is most appealing to me about discipline, which is pretty obvious, of course, is that you're doing damage to heal. So you're kind of playing both a DPS and a healer role at the same time. So, if the normal healing or DPS roles are starting to become they're starting to feel mundane to you, well, this may be a great spec for you to try out. Another really important thing about discipline, in my opinion, is that because you're kind of playing both roles, you're trying to push out as much damage as possible, you're trying to get dispels, you're trying to both offensive and friendly dispels, and you're keeping everybody alive, of course, you're managing cooldowns, all that good stuff. You have to really be aware of the entire game. And I'm obviously not perfect on my dispels or my leaps of faith or my cooldowns, but I think that this specialization really has improved my gameplay in general, and I think it will improve your gameplay as well. If you think maybe you're stuck at a certain rating, this may be a great specialization to try. Not because it's overpowered, and let's be honest, it's doing pretty well in the ladders right now, but just like I said, because you have to look at the entire game all at once. So as a discipline priest, you have so much utility that you bring to your team. Whether it's just the pure damage, and you guys know I love the offensive play as the discipline priest. That's what this build is all about. Maybe it's the CCs, that fear, which you can combo well with so many other classes. Maybe it's the offensive dispels, mass dispel, dark archangel, which I don't use perfectly, but it still nonetheless is a great spell. And if you guys are voicing especially, or just get better used to it than I did, Dark Archangel is amazing. But what I really want to talk about right now is Leap of Faith. Leap of Faith is probably the spell that I, as a healing priest, most underestimated. And this spell is completely game breaking. When you get used to playing this spell, this is one of those spells that pushes you up 1 or 200 points in the PvP ladder. This spell by itself, being able to effectively use Leap of Faith. And I don't know if you guys are aware, but I don't use voice chat, so I have to be careful with my leaps. I don't want to, ruin my teammates' momentum with a bad leap of faith. I don't want to put them in a position that they didn't expect or they didn't want. So you need to be careful. Use them when your teammate really needs the mobility, or someone needs to get out of line of sight because they're about to die. But you need to be aware that you have leap of faith. I lost a lot of games that I shouldn't have before I started using it. And now right here, we see that this lot kept using that portal, to retreat. And he's doing a hell of a job, but I know he's going to do it. Now it's a little slow on the leap, but I obviously am bringing my rogue back up to the ledge. And then the lock uses his last form of retreating. I CC the paladin, and we got the kill. And if you guys slow that down and rewatch that, I'm convinced that that fear won us the game. I'm just saying. You can slow down and check for yourself. But regardless, Leap of Faith is killing it. And here we're going to see a lot of Leap of Faith gameplay. Nothing as drastic, but just the little leaps of faith, and the added mobility that I'm giving my teammate is helping him tremendously. So here, we're going to see this Demon Hunter, just going as hard as he can. He's pushing out that damage, he's bursting, he's getting off those interrupts, but it's not going to stop me from being offensive. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about this build, is that it fits that offensive playstyle, even though I'm the healer. I've got some offensive damage, whether it's Purge the Wicked or now Power Word Solace. I've got my offensive penances, and I'm not going to stop using those. But I think this clip kind of shows the power of having multiple classes of spells, and Discipline is the only specialization with healing spells in multiple schools of magic. So if I get, locked out of Shadow, well, I'm going to be casting all my holy spells. If I get locked out of Holy, I'm going to be spamming Shadow Mint. And if I get locked out of both, I can still technically spam Purge the Wicked, and that will heal for a little bit on teammates with Atonement. So you always have options, and you can't even get locked out of Fire. So you can at least always spam Purge the Wicked. It's so good, in fact, that I think it's kind of spoiled me a little bit. You can see here that I don't even care about fake casting, which is really bad on my part. And if I would get better at fake casting, I'd probably move up 100 points or so in the ladder relatively easy. Not that I've been I pushed to 2100 and then got the transmogs, and that's all I cared about. But it would have probably been a lot easier to push had I been better at fake casting. And it's actually becoming a problem now because, believe it or not, I'm trying to push with a Holy Priest. And that's rough enough, because I'm sure you guys know that Holy Priest is literally the lowest on the ladders right now. But it doesn't help that I went from discipline, having 2 real schools of magic, to holy, only having holy spells. And I'm having to learn to fake cast all over again. So it's a plus, but if you're not playing with it, if you stop playing discipline, it can be pretty harmful. I want to take this opportunity to talk about mind control. So obviously mind control can be an amazing CC, and honestly if I would have had my trinket here, I probably could have trinketed that stun and then feared the pally, and we might have secured a kill here on the rogue. But you guys know I love that relentless for this build. But you know, you can mind control a healer if everyone's topped off. It's really helpful in Blade's Edge Arena, as I'm sure you all know. You can mind control people, make them jump off the bridge, and that can be pretty game breaking. But a trick that I've recently learned, I should say, is actually offensively mind controlling kill targets. And you could do this if your team is composed of DPS that do dot damage, and in this case it's an assassination rogue. So if you mind control somebody, obviously the enemy healers won't be able to heal them, but those dots that are on them will still be ticking the whole time. So I actually used this a few times, but I really liked this clip right here. Even though it didn't actually secure the kill, he doesn't die in the mind control, but I think it helped. The paladin wasted a bubble during that mind control, and you're gonna see there's the pally bubble, and my DPS buddy said he thought that it helped, and we probably would have got that kill anyway, but it's a pretty good tactic to use if you use it sparingly, and just don't overdo it, because you obviously don't want to mind control the enemy and keep your DPS from doing any damage. So I obviously played with this assassination rogue a few times, so we see him here in this video I think 3 times maybe, but I'm going to quickly talk about, you know, the comps that you can play with as a disciplined priest. In 2s, I really enjoyed playing with melee classes in general. I had fun with some warriors, enhancement shamans before and after the nerf, assassination rogues, outlaw rogues. I played with retribution paladins, and I even played with some demon hunters, survival hunters. Anything that's, I feel like those melee classes that you could, you know, really push with and be offensive with, that just played with that offensive play style, seemed to work. I think you could do really well with a boomkin or a mage as well. In 2s as discipline, I think you have a lot of really strong options. In 3s, there's obviously the famous RMP, and this is probably what you'll be able to push the most with, but I didn't really discriminate too much against specific classes in my 3s comps either. As long as I had some decent CC and damage with the comp, I felt like it was doing okay. You know, Hunter Ret seemed to work really well. Boomkin, Demon Hunter was rocking it as well, but RMP is just so, you know, famous and awesome that it's kind of hard not to play RMP as a disc priest. I'm going to conclude here, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video was informative and enjoyable to watch. If so, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below, and if not, let me know what I need to improve on. I have some ideas for future WoW videos. I'm thinking about trying to push Holy Priest to 2K, which is proving to be a little difficult right now. I want to play with a Holy Pally. I'm leveling up a Windwalker monk, and yes, a Windwalker, not a Mistweaver. So I'm curious as to see how that will perform in the arena. I may also post some Discipline RBG content, as Discipline is extremely strong in rated battlegrounds at the moment. But either way, I plan on posting some more WoW content for you all, so stay tuned. Again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this video, and I'll see you all next time.